Are you searching for the perfect love? You can't purchase it, you perfect love. Don't be searching for the perfect love unless the lane you searching for someone inside yourself.
Welcome to the Women in Hip Hop Wednesdays podcast. I'm your host, your music midwife and nerdy hip hop homegirl, Coco Peila. I'm a multi-hyphenate hip hop artist, MC, singer, songwriter, record producer, songwriting coach, and I'm so excited because we are doing one of the fan favorite segments of this podcast, which is Her Story in the Pages. As promised last season, we are gonna finish this book this season, and we are actually, funnily enough, we in season 2, and we're also in part 2 of Kathy Iandoli's God Save the Queens, The Essential History of Women in Hip Hop. I love this book. As y'all know, I'm obsessed. Part 2 of the book is called Class Acts, and it opens chapter 5, a new day rather. So we're going to read it. Unlike last season, I'm not going to pause and give commentary every 2 seconds. We're going to read it all the way through like we were sitting by ourselves reading it. And then at the end, I'll share a little bit of, thoughts and analysis and post some questions to y'all. And of course, hop in the comments, like, subscribe, share with the other nerdy hip hop heads that you know, women in hip hop that you know. I love this book so much. Chapter 5, A New Day. 30 years, MC Lyte yells into her microphone amid background screams of joy. We have grown up together. The rap veteran is standing before a packed crowd in the smoky Sony Hall located in Midtown Manhattan, addressing them all warmly for their consistent support over 3 decades of successful hits. Nearly 50 years old, Lyte looks younger now than she did back in 1988 when she unleashed her debut album, Light as a Rock, becoming the first solo female MC to release a full-length studio album. The crowd surprisingly spans all ages and races. Lyte, born Lana Michelle Moorer, reminds everyone in the room that while kids might know her as the voice of the BET Awards and others know her as Kai Owens from the sitcom Half and Half, the real fans know her as MC Lyte. On this particular evening, it was all MC Lyte, lyrical beast and living legend. As she traveled down memory lane through her own 8 albums, punctuated with guest appearances on other artists' hits, it was surreal to witness. So many hip-hop artists throughout history are flashes in the pan, typically with 1 or 2 singles that temporarily shape-shifted something or other, but the span of their success is limited. Not so for Lyte, a woman who came into her own from the moment we first met her. Some might call it the post-Roxanne Shante era, despite Shante still being active on the scene and not even releasing a full-length album until 1989. But a foundation was laid following the Roxanne's Revenge radio debut. Something was percolating and the labels wanted in. Now, however, there was a female talent emerging from everywhere. In 1985, Salt-N-Pepa, then called Supernature, released a response record to Dougie Fresh's The Show, titled The Showstopper Is Stupid Fresh. On the Herbie Lovebug Azor produced track, Brooklyn's Cheryl James, Salt, and Queen's Sandra Denton, Peppa, refer to themselves as the Salt-N-Pepa MCs. And once the record hit radio rotation, the name stuck. Following Salt-N-Pepa's newfound popularity came their debut album, Hot, Cool, and Vicious, in 1986, later armed with the unstoppable single, Push It. Initially, the B-side to their Tramp single, Push It, wasn't on the original version of their debut album, but was added a year later, which drove both the single and the album to platinum status. The same year, LaToya Hanson, the original Spinderella, was replaced by Deidre Roper. Roper was in 11th grade when she was approached by a friend about the opportunity to DJ for an all-girl group, not knowing who it was. I said, okay, and they had a conversation and set up a call. Herbie called me that night, so I auditioned, and then I got it. The rest was history. At the time, the formula was the girl next door speaking the language of young women, Spinderella explains. Salt-N-Pepa was talking to them about pushing it and having fun, shaking that thing, having a good time. Visually, we had a look to us. The folks identified with us, the music was fun, and the look was colorful. In 8-ball jackets and matching outfits reminiscent of early rap pioneers like Mercedes Ladies, Salt-N-Pepa charted new territory for all female rap groups. They had sequenced dance routines, something that had never been successfully combined with rapping before on a mainstream level. Spinderella even started out as a dancer, along with an energy that translated impeccably well from the record to the stage. A year later, JJ Fad would adopt a similar sound and aesthetic, releasing their classic Supersonic. My bad, I just had to do it in the intonation. Y'all know I'm a nerd. Okay. Releasing their classic Supersonic. A month after Salt-N-Pepa dropped their follow-up album, Assault with a Deadly Pepper, which featured the single Shake Your Thing. The video depicts the duo being arrested for dirty dancing, perfectly timed with the film Dirty Dancing that had released the year before, along with the censorship war being waged on hip-hop, beginning with Tipper Gore's parental advisory crusade. Self-expression in hip-hop was a priority for the artists and a bane for the government to stop. Was sexuality so offensive, and was it more horrific coming from women? If male rappers used their podium for whatever they wanted, why couldn't women? In the May 21, 1998 issue of Billboard magazine, journalist Bill Coleman penned a piece called "Female Rappers Give Males a Run for Their Money," crediting the platinum success of Salt-N-Pepa's debut album with creating a new lane for female rappers. Coleman spoke with the program director of Pittsburgh station WAMO, who said of Push It, because of the different style, a lot of people didn't view it as rap. Further, the program director of KZZP in Phoenix said, the female rap songs are novelties. Some of them, like Push It, are a little more of a song, while the others are a little more novelty. I hope the trend continues, but I don't want to see a glut of the product. Things were moving forward quickly for women, yet skeptics circled overhead, still questioning the validity and stability of their presence. Apparently, the only way for women to win in rap was to let their audience know it was rap. In the same article, MC Lyte is commended for moving 75,000 copies of her debut album with virtually no airplay. She praises Salt-N-Pepa in the article, stating, "They've come a long way and are still progressing." I loved MC Lyte, Spinderella says. She was a girl from Brooklyn, just like me. MC Lyte had been rhyming since she... Sorry, y'all. I get so excited when I'm reading this shit. Okay, let me take a breath. Just so y'all know, we're on page 64, chapter 5. If you're reading along with your book or on your Kindle, go ahead and take a breath with me. If you haven't gotten it yet, that's okay. You have plenty of time before we return to this segment next month. Okay, let me take a breath. This is like one of my joys. All right. MC Lyte had been rhyming since she was a preteen, originally under the name Sparkle, and made her way through the ranks of the New York City streets, known for her astonishingly intricate wordplay at such a young age. Working multiple jobs while still in school, Lyte was a true student of the game. She was inspired by Salt-N-Pepa, practicing her rhymes in their style to hone her craft. Quickly, she became the top female MC among her peers. She grew up with brothers Kirk Milk D Robinson and DJ Nat Gizmo Robinson, who, as the group Audio 2, were known for their 1987 hit Top Billin'. Their father, Nat Robinson, formed a record label for his sons called First Priority Music, signing Lyte as well. When Atlantic Records took an interest in First Priority, Nat brokered a deal with Atlantic to include Lyte. Also in '87, Salt-N-Pepa's producer Herbie Lovebug Azor dropped The House That Rap Built, a compilation album featuring his artists, including a female rapper named Antoinette. Audio 2 were supposed to record a track for the album called Top Illin', an alternate spin on their single, but it never happened. Instead, Antoinette came through with something very similar. Her track, I Got an Attitude, sonically leaned on Audio 2's Top Billin' and included some subliminals aimed towards MC Lyte. Antoinette made some slick remarks about MC Lyte's deeper tone voice, claiming that Lyte really wasn't all that hard. It was simply for effect. The real target, at that point at least, was Audio 2, since Antoinette had taken what was supposed to be their slot on the album. There had to be retribution, but how? Much like Mr. Magic had with UTFO, Audio 2 wanted to get back at Herbie for slighting them and choosing his signee for the compilation. But the duo didn't want to make a diss track about a girl. MC Lyte was up for the challenge, especially when she had been tangentially thrown into the fire. So Lyte in turn released the Audio 2 produced 10% Diss. And so began one of the greatest battles in hip hop history. The song features one of the most classic rap openers, frequently reused by rappers down the line. Hot damn ho, here we go again. Sucker's still a beat when you know they can't win. She called Antoinette a sucker and a nerve plucker while backdoor dissing Herbie as well. It was intense from the jump, and while the title was 10% Diss, Lyte kept it 100. When it comes to the etiquette of rap battles, my standard is Lyte and Antoinette, Moni Love explains. When Lyte and Antoinette were beefing, nobody got involved. It was them two going back and forth. The battle intensified as Antoinette then retaliated with Lights Out, Party's Over, reusing Lyte's opener but calling her a hoe in turn. She even goes as far as saying that MC Lyte reminds her of her dead dog. Lyte then bluntly released Shut the F Up, Hoe. On this one, she compares the heat from her 10% diss to a microwave with Antoinette's head inside. But the next one would be in a blender. On top of all that, she questions the whereabouts of the father of Antoinette's child. The back and forth spread like wildfire for nearly 3 years, from 1987 to 1990, as the fandom for the diss tracks spread to the artists themselves. Everyone was tuned into what was going to happen next. Girl, we would anticipate it, Moni says. We would be on pins and needles. Can't wait until Friday night or Saturday night when New York City radio staple DJ Red Alert show comes on or Mr. Magic comes on to see if there be a brand new Lyte answer back to Antoinette or Antoinette answer back to Lyte. Do you know what I mean? It kept us charged. It was dope. We loved it. We loved hearing it. Lights out, party's over. Shut the F up. Oh my God, it was awesome. Antoinette, in turn, dropped Unfinished Business, but the business was already finished by then. At this point, MC Lyte was securing a legacy as both a battle rapper and a hit maker. Rarely do the two meet in one artist, even today. But Lyte made it happen. During the height of her beef with Antoinette, Lyte released 2 albums with the diss tracks wedged in the track listings among other solid cuts. Light as a Rock had standouts like the lead single, I Cram to Understand You, Sam, along with Paper Thin, and the title track. What's up, y'all? I just wanted to make sure to invite you to collect the print. As you know, we have a limited edition 12 by 12 high quality print. And this is a collaboration with an amazing Black female artist named China Brown, who designed this. You can frame it, you can put it up in your office, you can put it up in your home, you can gift it to somebody. On the back is a wonderful QR code that you can scan, and it downloads the single, the Love Me All acoustic, which is not going to be on my studio album. It's not on any of the streaming platforms. It's like a special, very limited release. And just for the month of February, I'm actually going to include a QR code so that you can also download Perfect Love, which up until now has only been available with the capsule pre-orders. So just for the month of February, y'all gonna get 2 songs with this. If you wanna know more about it, you wanna order a pack with all the dope ass colors, or you just wanna get a single, you can go to cocopeila.com/the-print. This is for every Black woman that gave the culture everything and got crumbs in return. We are investing in building a different system that really honors our art, our songs, our visual art, our contributions, our analysis as fine art. And I'm so excited to have y'all. So go snatch this shit up before it goes, because it's not gonna be here for long. And yeah, thank you. Her follow-up, 1989's Eyes on This, had Shut the F Up Ho, but also had the game-changing Cha Cha Cha, which earned Lyte a #1 song on the Billboard Hot Rap Singles chart. It was evident that while she was lyrically gifted, MC Lyte had her eye on a bigger prize. The war with Antoinette was kept on wax and never escalated to anything more, especially when Lyte was destined for far greater things. She had already cross-genre collaborated with Sinead O'Connor, at the time a bubbling college radio fixture, on 1988's I Want Your Hands on Me. At just 18 years old, O'Connor's star was on the rise, and due to Lyte's steadily growing track record, she reached out to collaborate. She wanted me to rap on her song and say, "Shut the fuck up," MC told Rolling Stone in 2018. She was like, "Don't leave that part out. I need you to say that part." And so I arranged some lyrics and said that part. With her third album, 1991's Act Like You Know, led by the single Poor Georgie, Lyte secured her spot as a great storyteller. On the track, Lyte paints a picture of a deep romantic tragedy. Girl meets boy, girl falls for boy, girl realizes boy is a rebel, yet can't seem to turn her way. Boy has a drinking problem, and on top of that is diagnosed with both colon cancer and lung cancer. Boy crashes his car and dies. It's a lot to take in, especially considering the youthfulness behind the pen that wrote the song. But MC Lyte was wise well beyond her years. She became known as a rapper's rapper, where her lyrics came first and all else followed. But her bluntness had given her carte blanche to tell any story, really, since day one. She wrote I Cram to Understand You, Sam, a song about falling in love with a drug addict at just 12 years old, and recorded it at 14. She painted the most painful poetry, thinking Sam was cheating on her with someone named Miss C, and trying to figure out why the object of her affection had his eye on someone else. In the end, his addiction wasn't to another woman, but to drugs. Miss C was actually crack. In 2011, journalist Keith Murphy spoke with MC Lyte for Vibe, where she dissected her own catalog, including I Cram to Understand You, Sam. The song was inspired by one of her cousins being addicted to crack, but also by her witnessing the widespread addiction happening in New York City at the time while sitting at her mother's job. My mother used to work at North General Hospital in Harlem, Lyte said in an interview. whenever I would go, there would be a slew of heroin and crack addicts and everybody there at the rehabilitation center that was a couple of floors down. I would have to come into contact with these addicts and I would think, wow, what a jacked up way to be. The song is a direct descendant of The Message, released in 1982 by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, in which Melly Mel goes into detail about the ills of New York City living, from drugs to violence to poverty. By 1988, the United States was in a downward spiral, and the switch from Ronald Reagan to George H.W. Bush as president did little to boost the economy in the continued aftershocks of Reaganomics. The AIDS epidemic had reached its height, and in the inner cities, drug addiction and destitution still went hand in hand. It's proof that in the eye of the chaos, hip-hop was still the only watchdog relaying what was going on to the public. Starting at age 14, Lyte carried that torch with her own messaging and knack for lore that would transcend generations of hip-hop. Her rhymes were potent but relatable, no nonsense but full of heart. It's a charm she carried with her from the booth as a teenager to the stage, even 30 years later. MC Lyte made me want to rap, remembers Grammy-nominated North Carolina native Rhapsody. Seeing poor Georgie and her ability to tell story with words, that was my first time hearing that. For me, to see a woman who wasn't timid with it and the picture she painted, I fell in love with it all. MC Lyte and Salt-N-Pepa were different, yet cut from the same self-expressive cloth. Their artistry was clearly indicative of something evolving in hip-hop, a cross-genre phenomenon with women at the helm. In 1988, British pop magazine Smash Hits profiled Salt-N-Pepa and referred to the trio as a dance group on the verge of a major stardom. I didn't see that as a problem, Spinderella says. We didn't set out to do it, but it was an added advantage. We made music and people just happened to dance to it. That just means our music was crossing the regular standards, crossing lines, which is always good. Their popularity went global, led by a sound that was both pop and hip hop at the same time. Lyte, on the other hand, was inserting her graduated level of lyricism into the mainstream. It was a lesson in coexistence as hip hop's sound was expanding, and with the level of female talent brewing, there was plenty of room for diversity. There was nowhere to go but up. Okay, so who right now in hip hop, what woman or girl do you feel like is walking in that legacy of MC Lyte? What groups or duos do we have walking in the legacy of Salt-N-Pepa? What do y'all, I would say, like, who are some independent artists that y'all want to tag and let the world know about that you feel like are the world's best kept secrets as far as women and girls in hip hop? And what does MC Lyte's story tell us? Like, what does it teach us? I think that there is a narrative that often talks about, there's a narrative that, like, you can't break through in mainstream music with real stories or by being your real self or by talking about anything other than sex. But what I love about this chapter and about a lot of the quotes that come from female MCs is that even if folks are talking about different content or taking a different path, they all have, well, in this case, Lyte has so much respect for Salt-N-Pepa, and Salt-N-Pepa had so much or have so much respect for Lyte, although they used their pen and their mics in really different ways and to amplify different issues. There's so many things I want to say, but chew on that. Tell me what you think. Like I said, drop it in the comments, like it, subscribe, share it. I really want us to dig into this. And if there was anything in this chapter, at least, about Salt-N-Pepa or MC Lyte that wasn't mentioned, things that have stood out to you or inspired you about their careers or about their music, certain songs or lyrics, drop it down in the comments. And I'll start making time at the end of Her Story in the Pages to read any aha moments or any responses that y'all have. What do I want to say? This is one of my favorite segments because we really get to learn fact-checked history, journalistic history of women in hip hop. And this is, the ladies birthed this shit. And so it's so exciting to get a chance to just amplify and tell their stories, our stories. And to me, it's crazy that this didn't come out until I don't know, as recently as it did, that this is the first, women in hip hop history book. But make sure that I'll put a link down in the description so that y'all can buy this straight from Harper's Press if you don't already have it. And of course, if you want to go and try to check it out at a local library, you can. But I would really recommend buying it so that you can go in and highlight and put little sticky notes and notes in the margin, because it's so dope. Big shout out to Kathy Iandoli, who wrote this book, for her contribution as a woman in hip hop and for taking the time to pull all of this together and for giving us permission to read her dope ass book. Hip hop is a conversation. So what the fuck is you saying? What are you calling for? What are you responding with? What are your actions saying about your values? Are your actions and your values in alignment? And if they don't match up, let's get them lined up. What's the way that you're reflecting life and also shaping life through your creativity, whether or not you're a hip hop head? Anyway, I'm gonna see y'all next Wednesday. Love y'all, for real.